When I was 8 years old, my mom, she migrated to America. During the time she migrated to America, she left me, my sister, and my brother with another family member who lives in a better community. They had a son. He would come to the room and he would move the seat of my underwear and he would pull down his underwear. And while he was fondling me, he would be fondling himself. What I learned, know that he was masturbating. So on top of me getting getting molested, they were also physically abusive, and they really treated us bad. So I told what he was doing. I told his mother, I told his elder sister, who was like a second mother in the house. And I did tell them what he was doing to me at night. And he said to them that I was lying. And the minute that he said that I was lying, they did not believe me.
They did not believe you.
They did not believe what I was saying. And I shut down. So during that time, he stopped doing that. But then there was a female family member. So she would take me and she would take me over to her house when no one is there. And she would let me do things to her, her private part, and she would do things to me.
This is the Chadash Show, where faith and stories flow. Renew, restore, revive again, lifting hearts to every friend. Chadash Show.
Hello and welcome again to another exciting edition of the Chadash Show, where you are going to be renewed, restored, and revived. I am Dr. Abiola Fashina, and I will be with you throughout the show. I ain't going nowhere. And I have two beautiful ladies with me on the Chadash Show. Watch out, here's Coach Lola.
Hello and welcome to the Chadash Show. I'm Coach Lola Owokoniran. Thank you for joining us today. And please do remember, and we are begging, subscribe, like, and share. Thank you so much.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Prophetess Beverly Harvey. Welcome to the Chadash Show. We ask again that you subscribe, like, and share, where we are here to renew, restore, and to revive. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Yes, yes, yes. You are welcome. This is the Chadash Show. You see three of us? We are ready to give it to you today because today we have an exciting guest who will tell you how she turned the mess into a message. But before we do that, subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, stop watching. Go subscribe now. Share, like, because what we're going to share with you is going to change your life. Now we have a special guest. Her special guest, let me read her resume for you. She is in the person of Pastor Nadine Gibson Anderson. She was born in Kingston, Jamaica. In 1987, she migrated to the United States of America, where she currently lives. She is an author, a wife, and a mother of two. The hand of God has always been upon her life, and she's a living testimony of how God can turn a mess into a message. She answered the Master's call into ministry for hurting people who have been raped, molested, abused, rejected, and wounded by church people. But through it all, she's still standing only by God's grace. In the year 2016, the Lord spoke to her to begin a WhatsApp prayer group, and that was the birth of her ministry. In May 2023, she received her master's degree in divinity and then finally answered her call to be ordained as a pastor. And she's pushing forth the kingdom of God. Her ministry is called Faith, Purpose, Healing, and Deliverance Ministry. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have subscribed, you have shared, you have liked, welcome with me onto the Chadash Show with the Chadash ladies, Pastor Nadine Gibson Anderson. You are welcome. Welcome.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Say hello to our guests and tell them a little bit about yourself.
Praise the Lord. It's so good to be here. God is good, and I thank God for the elevation and for where God is taking me. I am Pastor Nadine Gibson Anderson. I was born in Kingston, Jamaica. Praise God. And I migrated to America in 1987 when I was 13, going on 14 years old. And I am now at a certain ripe age in America where I am now doing the work of God. And I'm so excited about what God is doing in my life. Psalms 147 says that God heals the broken in heart and he binds up all their wounds. And I have had many wounds during my lifetime. And the first wound began at the age of 8 when I was still in Jamaica. I came from an area called Vineyard Town in Kingston, and it's called McGregor Gully. So it's like the ghetto. In America, they say it's like the projects. And you know, they would say nothing good come out of the projects, nothing good come out of the ghetto, like they would say about Jesus. Can anything good come out of Nazareth? Praise God. So when I was about 8 years old, the enemy stepped in my life. I never knew anything about church. I didn't know anything about the devil, or there's just certain things that I did not know. And when I was 8 years old, my mom, she migrated to America. During the time she migrated to America, she left me, my sister, and my brother with another family member who lives in a better community. My mom, she wanted the best for us until the time comes for her to bring us to America. So that was the plan. So while we were at the family member's house, they had a son, which is my family member, but he was way older. I believe he was probably in his early 20s or a little bit over 20. I wasn't sure. But he would come in every night into the room where me, my sister, and my brother was sleeping at night. And we were sleeping on one bed. It was I would say like a queen size bed. And I would sleep at the edge of the bed. My sister would be in the middle. Then my brother would be at the end. And when he come in every night, he would come to the room and he would move the seat of my underwear. And he would pull down his underwear. And while he was fondling me, he would be fondling himself. What I learned, know that he was masturbating. So while he would do that almost every night for a while, I was glad that it didn't happen to my sister. I don't know how she would have been able to handle it.
Was she older than you?
No, we were just 11 months apart, but I'm older.
So you were 8?
I was 8.
And she was about 7?
Yes.
And your brother?
And my brother, he was probably about 5, 4 or 5. So I'm glad that it didn't happen to them. So I told what he was doing. I told his mother. I told his elder sister, who was like a second mother in the house. And I did tell them what he was doing to me at night. And he said to them that I was lying. And the minute that he said that I was lying, they did not believe me.
They did not believe you.
They did not believe what I was saying. And I shut down. In my mind, I'm like, I'm not telling them anything anymore. So that stopped. But we were still living in the house. I wasn't able to tell my mom when we speak to her on the phone when she would call from America. I wasn't able to write a letter and tell her because they would read the letter when we write. And whenever we speak to our mom, they would be right there listening. So on top of me getting getting molested, they were also physically abusive, and they really treated us bad. And my mom would take care of the entire house financially. She would send, barrels with food, and, Caribbean people, how they do it when they are taking care of their families back home. So during that time, he stopped doing that. But then there was a female family member.
A female?
A female. She was older. I would say maybe she was in her late teens. I am not sure of their age, but I know they were older, where they would know better. So she would take me, and she would take me over to her house when no one is there. And she would let me do things to her, her private part, and she would do things to me. Now,
And you were
it was still 8. That's when the enemy.
I'm so sorry. Question here. Did you ever share any of those experiences with your siblings?
No,
Why?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Do you think because you stated that you didn't want it to happen to them, so really you was trying to protect them even in that way?
Yeah, I was.
because I was 7 and 5.
Yeah, they were young, so
Okay.
I guess in a sense I was trying to protect them without knowing that that's what I was trying to do.
Were you going to school all the time?
I was going to school.
How about the teachers?
It's not like here in America where you will go and you will share things with the teachers, and they will get, certain people involved, and they will come to your home, and, it's different in our culture. It's a little bit different now in Jamaica. Now they have certain places that will get involved when a child is being molested or abused in their home. So it's different now than back then.
So she'll take you to her house.
She would take me to her house, and she would do what she does to me. It took me, you have a thing called suppressive memory. So it took me years before that came back, because I suppressed it.
Right.
And how I remembered what she was doing to me is the smell of my own vagina. That's when the memory came back, and the details of what she did. And this was something that I really didn't speak about openly. I just said a female family member molested me. That's it. I've never gone into the details.
How long did this go on for?
It went on for a while, maybe a few months. It went on because my aunt, she came when my mom found out that they were ill-treating us, but she still did not know about the sexual abuse. She heard about the physical abuse because they hit my sister in the eye. Yeah, with her shoes, and messed up her eye, and we were really being ill-treated. So my mom heard about it, and she sent her sister to come and to get us, to take us back to my grandmother's house. Now, I did not tell them what she was doing to me because they didn't believe me when I told them about him. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm not going to tell them because they didn't believe me. So I just shut down. And this is what I like to encourage parents. When your child come to you and said, okay, this person did that to me, this person touched me here, believe them. Believe them. Unless you find out otherwise that, nothing goes like that. But give them the benefit of the doubt. And nobody taught me that, okay, nobody's supposed to touch you there or here. I didn't know about the word molestation and certain things I didn't know back then. Because, our parents or even anyone around us, they did not teach us these things.
They didn't say nothing.
Nothing. They didn't tell us that, back home in Jamaica, they used to have a saying that they hold you down and they take it, and that's it. They even make it into a song. But it's called rape.
Yes.
So when my aunt came and she took us back home to my grandmother's house in the ghetto, there was a young man who would come and visit the yard. He was, I would say, in his late 20s. And he would gather us around the table and say he's telling us stories. So, you know, we always get excited when he come. You know, it's a familiar face.
Right.
So we would get excited when he come because he always have different stories to tell us. But he always makes sure that I'm sitting beside him. And while I'm sitting beside him under the table, he's molesting me.
Oh, no.
I didn't know that this was a plan of the enemy because I was still young. I didn't know anything about Christianity. You know, like I said, we weren't going to church like that. I didn't come from a Christian home.
Right.
We don't know about spiritual things. We don't know. So I was being molested under the table. And again, I didn't tell anyone.
Although you're in a different environment, you did.
Different environment, I still didn't. I was always the quiet one. And this is why the enemy used to abuse me, because I would not open my mouth and talk. My sister, on the other hand, she was the feisty one. She would be the one who would tell you as it is, and she's more bold. But I was always the quiet one. So,
You know, you mentioned something, the yard. What is that?
It's just like the open space inside of like our house, and then we have that open space where we will have the table outside, the bathroom outside, and we just call it the yard.
So was it a group of community kids coming around, or just kids in the compound?
Sometimes community kids would come over our house, but I had a lot of cousins. So we were our own company.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, so we didn't have a lot of outsiders that would come in, only once in a while, because my grandmother was a little bit strict, and, you know, also my grandfather.
Okay.
So for how long did he keep coming and telling these stories?
Oh, he did that for a while. This was like a routine for him to come over, because he lived, I would say, maybe about half a mile from us. I'm going to say half a mile. And everybody's used to him, you know. So this was just, no, who was doing that? No. Nobody suspected, and I did not say anything. So, and if I had said something, the type of person that my grandfather was, it would have been bloody, because he's that type of person.
Can I ask you a question, Pastor Nadine? What about your father? Where was your father?
Oh, my father, people would say, you know, they're sperm donors. So my father was more like a sperm donor. I never had that father figure in my life. It was always my mother. She was always like a mother and a father. She had to play both roles, because my father did not stand up. Even as a baby, I remember she would tell me that when I was a baby, and back home we call it nappy. In America, I think they call it chemise, I think, where they would, in America now they use diaper, but back then they would use that cloth, right, and to put around the baby with the pins, but we call it nappy in Jamaica. So she said he would give it to her, and then when they're arguing, he would come back and take it. Yes. So I believe even the spirit of rejection came in my life since then, as a child, you know. So, but that's a different part of my story, the whole rejection.
He's the same father for your other siblings?
No.
Okay.
My brother and my sister are the same father.
Okay.
I'm a different father from them. I have a different father from them.
Do you think maybe that was why you were always molested, especially within the family? Like they saw that your father wasn't around, so there's no father figure there to kind of silently scare them, you know, because he rejected you indirectly as a child?
That could have opened a portal or a gateway in my life for the enemy to enter in, yes.
And even Pastor Nadine, I listen that you say even from the age of 8, because the enemy is always imitating everything that God does. 8 is new beginning. It brings balance to your life. But instead of balance and a new beginning as you're entering in, the enemy came and perverted it.
Yes.
Starting at the age of 8.
Yes. Yes.
And you know, from at that age, there was a lot of struggling in my life as well, in my mind, you know, feeling rejected, feeling not wanted, feeling not loved, not having anyone say, I love you, you're beautiful. I didn't hear my mom say, I love you until I was about 34, when I first started out, coming out and, you know, sharing my testimony. And I don't blame her. You know why? Because she did not hear it from her parents. Her father was more short than her mother. So it's hard to give something that more. So I don't hold it against her, but I know she do by her actions, the things that she have done for us over, you know, the years and still do. So, you know, the enemy really had a foothold in my life for many years. He's still trying. But I thank God for the woman of God that I am now.
Yeah.
I know how to fight back.
Yeah. Pastor Nadine, I have a question. So when your mother sent your auntie, did they even think or question, or did they act differently because they know you was leaving, thinking maybe that you would share and tell now what you spoke to them about with your cousin?
Well, back then, because the aunt that I have, the type of person that she is a fighter. She is a rebellious one. She will, you understand? So it wasn't pretty when she came for us. But then they weren't too, I would say they weren't too happy because they were losing.
Yes.
Her mom was sending you taking care of the house.
Yes.
She made sure that house was okay, not only for her children, but the entire household. So they were losing.
Yes.
So now I had to face the sister who was the eldest one in the house. And the day when I had to face her, it was so uncomfortable. Even though I know I've forgiven her, but it still felt uncomfortable. Her mom passed, and I pray to God that, you know, she set things right with God before she passed. I had to reach a point where I had to learn to forgive them. My sister, she struggled with that, with forgiving them. But I know that I have to forgive them. Yeah. Not for them, but for me.
That's right.
So even now, when I did an interview back in Jamaica some years ago, I had to tell my cousin, which is the elder sister's daughter, I had to tell her that, listen, I'm going to do this interview and it's not going to sound easy. It's not going to sound nice because I'm talking about your uncle. I'm talking about your cousin who did these things to me when you weren't even born yet. And a family member of mine did not want me to share and did not want me to, as a matter of fact, she got upset for me to, you know, because I was telling her what I'm about to expose, what I'm about to share. Because what I've learned over the years is you have to expose the enemy.
Yes. Yeah.
And I reached a point where I was like, I'm not keeping no secret for you no more, devil.
And it's your healing.
And it's my healing.
Yes.
Because when I was keeping my mouth shut, that's when he used to abuse me. That's when he would step in my life and what I realized is the enemy loved to see me hurt.
Yes.
The enemy enjoys our pains.
Yes.
It's like you would say he gets off on our pain. So I had to reach a point in my life where I have to take back my joy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Take back my happiness.
Yes.
You understand? So they weren't pleased when I had
answered the question about your uncle. Even though they were not pleased you were about to expose him, Did you ever find out whether he did it to other people, other children?
No, I did not. I did not. But I remember coming out and telling what happened to me. I'm gonna just say a family member wasn't pleased and was saying that he didn't know what he was doing. Right. So that made me feel like they're more on his side than on my side. And then it just take me back to that little child who told them at first and they did not believe.
Didn't believe.
And these are adults.
These are adults.
These are adults. So going back to the situation at your grandma's, how did you, was the gentleman coming in every day to tell the stories?
I wouldn't say every day, but frequently.
Okay.
As far as I can remember, it's mostly over the weekends.
Wow.
Right, because then, during the week we go to school, and then by the time we get home, it's time to get ready for bed, do homework, get ready for bed. So it's mostly over the weekends that he will come and, do what.
And nobody
He did
suspected
best.
him.
Nobody's, and I'm not even sure if he did it to any of my other cousins. And that nobody said anything. Like in my family, I'm the only one who's bold enough to come out and to talk about
Tell your story.
these things. Right. Because I realize that this is a spirit that's in my family with molestation and rape and all of that. I realize now that it's a spirit by talking to even some other family members, but no one is bold enough to come out and to share. And for many years too, I wasn't bold enough until when God told me that, listen, other women need to hear your story. Other people are going through it and they need to hear in order for them to get their healing and their deliverance. You have to tell your story.
So how long were you with your grandmother?
I was with her till I was 13.
Okay. And then why did you leave?
My mom sent for me and my sister and brought us to America. I was about 14, going on 14 when I came to America.
Before you go into the American, Prophetess Beverly was trying to ask you a question.
My question was, after you got old enough, did you try to talk to your mother? At first you shut down. And also, another question if you can look back now, can you remember that any of your other cousins shut down? Because sometimes it's the shutting down, which is some of the symptoms that we notice when people are being molested children. So they may not have came forth because you said that you had a little more boldness in you afterwards coming out.
Yes.
Because God was already working in you, but others don't have it to where they're ready to expose it. But did you remember any other cousin possibly shutting down, getting quiet, staying more reserved?
I would say when I came to America, that's when I would notice like maybe a couple of family members, they're more in their behavior.
Yes.
Yeah, more in the behavior. Also, I forgot the other part of the question.
The other question was, when you came to America, did you finally talk to your mother? I know you said that you was almost 14. Did you talk to her then because you couldn't then because they would be listening to your conversations, reading your letters, but now that you're in America, you have it to yourself?
Right. It would have been a perfect opportunity to now open up to her, but I did not. And I felt like we didn't have that type of relationship. But over the years is after God tell me I have to come out and share my story. That's when she heard about all the things that happened to me. And she said to me, you did not tell me all these things. And for a little bit, I could tell she was kind of blaming herself or feel like maybe and I told her, I said, listen, it was just a plan of the enemy. I did tell, but because they didn't believe me, I shut down, and I shut down from everyone. I did not tell nobody at all. So it was when I was 34, she first heard about it. And that's when we were able just to talk about it a little bit. Not in depth, but just a little bit.
Let me take you back to when you now came, she sent for you, and you came to America. Did things get better for you in America?
Oh, no. I would have thought that maybe things would start to change. So coming to America, I came before my sister, then she came after. But I found myself hanging out with certain type of company, and I found myself cutting school and, playing hooky party and, wearing big earrings, my nose pierced, and bleach my hair and dressing half naked. And I started behaving differently, and I didn't understand why I was behaving that way until matter of fact, it's after I got saved, I realized it's because of the things that I have been through. I was acting out, not knowing why. So when I was 16, I was talking to this guy on the phone. Another friend introduced me to him, but we were talking just on the phone. And one day he said, "Why don't you come over?" And I was very reluctant about going, and he convinced me somehow. And what made me go is because he said that my niece and my nephew is here, so you don't have anything to worry about. So, being a 16-year-old, I was naive. And I went. I took a taxi from Brooklyn to Queens. I was in New York. And when I got there, he paid for the taxi, and he showed me around the house, and he showed me niece and his nephew. They were there in the living room sleeping. When he got to the bedroom, we were standing at the door, and he forced me in, and he threw me on the bed, and then he raped me.
Next week on the Chadash Show.
I'm telling you, I party 7 days a week.
Oh, no.
No club didn't miss me. I go to another state. I would travel to Jamaica. I would do what I had to do at the time because, listen, I was so lost. I was a walking mess. I would do things that I didn't even, it's like somebody took over my body and was doing them. And I was just watching me, just doing the things, and I had no control. When he stopped, he pushed my seat back, and he put the back of his elbow, my throat, and I could not breathe. My body just went dead because I wasn't getting any air.
Wow, Pastor Nadine's story is very, very interesting. And we have been interviewing, viewers, we can't finish all her story in this edition. We have to come back in a part 2 of Pastor Nadine's story. So don't go away. Remember to subscribe, to comment, to share, and tell people to come and watch the Chadash Show. From Coach Lola and Prophetess Beverly and Pastor Nadine, see you in part 2.
Yes.
Bye-bye.